That's not Woodturning, Daddy.
Follow manufacturer's instructions and stay safe. I've got a pressure pot and I'm not afraid to use it. It's time to do some casting. In this video we're going to have a look at a couple of different ways of casting the mould I made in the last video. Hope you enjoy it. Keep watching to see how I got on. Well, the snow has melted and my long awaited parcel has arrived. Deliveries have got through. Let's see what we've got. Very excited about this. I've been really looking forward to this coming. And there it is. The pressure pot. It's a 20 litre pressure pot. Very excited about this. Here's the pressure pot all set up. My wife's out, so I've put it up on the dining table so you can get a better look at it. There we go. The biggest wing nuts you'll ever see. And it's on wheels, and it needs to be. It's a heavy beast. It's about 23.5 kilos, I think. And these are the guys who got it off sprayequipment.co.uk. They do several different pressure pots. But as I say, I went for the 20 litre one, which I went for more for the increased diameter than anything. The 10 litre one is really good, I think, probably if you're doing pen blanks and small things, but the increased diameter of this just makes it a bit more useful for me, and the height will certainly come in handy as well, because I intend to do some much bigger castings in the future. I'll just give you a tour. You've got the 4 big wing nuts on the top, which you have to tighten up in sequence, going opposites like you would, you know, wheel nuts on a car. There we've got the pressure gauge. This has got a working pressure of 80 psi, but it's recommended you don't really take it to that, you know, and using it at that. And I've got it set at 60 psi, which should be good enough for most pressure, you know, bubble-free castings. If I can get it to focus, that's better. There we go. There's my compressor. It's quite a small compressor. I would like to get a bigger one at some point. And on the top here, so we've got the inlet coming from the compressor. There's a one-way valve here, and then you've got these taps for closing it off. It's recommended that you keep it connected to a compressor the whole time you're waiting for your resin to set, because there's always going to be minute leaks somewhere in the system, and the pressure will gradually drop, although I haven't noticed any discernible drop in this in the past 2 hours. But it's recommended to keep it connected to the compressor, so if the pressure does start to drop, the compressor will cut in and repressurise it. Going round, that's the air release. So you undo that to release the air, so depressurise it. Safety valve, so you can't exceed the pressure. I think that's about it. More grab handles. A nice big handle on the top for wheeling it around and lugging it around. But it's one heck of a bit of kit. Really pleased. The build quality is amazing. Anyway, we better make use of it. So we're going to do a bit of casting. In the last video I made a mould from this skull that I'd carved. And here's the silicone mould. I've cut out a bit of a well in the top of it. We're going to cast this today in some clear resin. Just check that the sides are all married up correctly, which they are. Then I'm going to put a bit of tape around this just to hold it all together. We're using a different resin today. Last time we used Clear Top 5, and today we're using Clear Top 35. It's another epoxy resin, but with this one you can cast it in layers up to 35mm, not just 5mm, which makes it more suitable for casting larger items, especially in a pressure pot, and it should work well. Well, that's the theory. We'll try it. This is another MBFG product, and I'll put all the links to it in the description so you'll know what I'm using. I've got my postage scales ready, and a mixing pot, and a spatula, and my gloves. Now I'm going to have to work this out carefully because the mixing ratio on this is 100 resin to 45 hardener by weight, so you've got to be really very careful about mixing this. I'll start by pouring the base resin. I'm guessing really on the volumes, but in actual fact it turned out it was about right. As I say, just done some calculations, and I'm now putting in the correct amount of hardener. I re-zeroed the scales before doing that. And then mixing thoroughly with a wooden mixing stick. I was going to degas this, but I decided not to in the end. Here I'm just pouring in the resin into the mould. I'm just trying to do it in a nice thin stream down into the mould. Just being careful not to slop it everywhere. By pouring it in a thin stream it helps eliminate some of the air. And then you can see the 3 extra little sprues around, and as you're just getting near the top you can just see it appearing up through the other sprues. And this will help the resin fill all the areas of the mould, but also helps get rid of the air as well. Gives the air somewhere to escape. I'm just putting extra in here, filling it right up, because it's bound to shrink down a bit when it's under pressure as the air's squeezed out, or the air bubbles are compressed. Then we put it into the pressure pot. On goes the lid, and then lifting up the giant wing nuts, and to start with I just snug them down just so that they're just onto the lid, and then I start tightening in sequence, doing opposite sides, doing it little bit by little bit. We then switch on the compressor, and you can see the pressure rising on the pressure gauge, and it's just gone up to the 60 pounds per square inch. Just making final adjustments, just getting the pressure just right. A big difference between Clear Top 5 and Clear Top 35 is the cure time. It's a much longer 48-hour cure. I was not popular having this in the lounge for 48 hours. 48 hours later, I'm just equalising the pressure using the release valve on the pressure pot. And just see the pressure dropping back down to 0. And once it's gone right down, there's no more air rushing out, I can release the giant wing nuts. Just fold those back. And then we can lift off the lid. See what we got. All set. So peeling off the tape so I can remove the housing. It's always quite exciting, this bit. A little bit of wrestling. and then we can pull the skull out. I was absolutely delighted with this. It's come out beautifully. And then we've got an extra thing for you, the bonus bronze feature. I thought I'd do a very quick casting, and to do this I'm using some MBFG bronze powder, and this is real bronze metal powder, very finely powdered bronze. And I'm tipping some of this into the mould, into the skull mould, and you give it a good shake around, and what this does is it sticks a layer of it to the inside of the mould. It adheres really well. You get this lovely fine layer all round the inside. Just tap out any that's not stuck, and then you can reclaim that for later use. Put the housing back on, just lining it all up properly, tape it up, and then we're using another MBFG product, and this is the black polyurethane. Just mix in equal quantities, parts A and B by weight. You've got to work quickly with this one because it has got a very, very quick cure time, and especially if you're going to be pressurising it as well, you've really got to work swiftly. And here I am pouring it into the mould. I reckon I only just got it in time. Pouring excess in, then I'm just putting it into the pressure pot as quick as I can and pressurising it up to 60 psi. And 1 hour later, it's set. So break off the sprue and then pull the skull out. And this was amazing as well. It looks incredible. It'll look much better once it's all polished up. But I was absolutely delighted with how this came out. Yeah, really good. No bubbles. Perfect. But the next thing is to leave them for a couple more days just to fully harden, especially with epoxy. The resin's fully cured, so it's back out into the workshop, just trimming off the sprues with my Dremel, and then putting my polishing wheels on the lathe. Bringing up the tailstock just to keep the mandrel in place. And here I'm buffing up the resin using Vonax polishing compound. Being careful not to overheat it, and just don't stay in one spot too long, keep moving it and polishing. And regularly apply some more polishing compound. Then moving on to the bronze, I have to just buff this very gently. This only took probably a minute to buff up. It didn't take long at all. You just gently buff it using the Vonax again. You can see how quick it comes up. You mustn't over buff this because you will buff the surface layer away. Well, that's another very satisfying project completed. Very pleased with this one. I really enjoyed doing this. It's great fun. I love mould making and casting. There's something very satisfying about it. Anyway, here's the first skull, the clear one, the epoxy resin one. That's clear epoxy resin called Clear Top 35 from MBFG in Belfast. And I'll put all links in the description to all these things. And that's the clear one. Really, really pleased with that. Polished up really well. I used Vonax to get the final polish. That's that. And then we have the bronze, which just came out stunning. That dusting the mould technique is really good. Get some great results doing that. It just polishes up really nicely. All I did with this one was a brief buff up on the polishing wheel using Vonax again. Quick note to you all about polishing these bronze ones when you've used the mould dusting technique. is only lightly polished them. You can see this has come up absolutely beautifully, but if you keep polishing it, you will polish through into the black resin underneath. In fact, if you look underneath, you can see where the sprues were. You can see the black resin just under there where the sprues were, and it's really worked very, very well. Flawless castings, thanks to the pressure pot. It squeezes all the air bubbles till they're so small you can't see them, and that's come out really well. Sorry about the delay since the first part of this video, but the snow delayed the delivery of my pressure pot, which I needed to do the job properly. There you go. And that was the original one, the holly carving that I did several years ago. And the pressure pot has been brilliant. I've really had fun with that. The build quality on those pressure pots is awesome. You know, I mean, they have to be built like a tank, don't they, because they are a tank, but it really is heavy duty build, really nice fittings, and very airtight. You know, nothing's 100% airtight, but I have to say it's very impressive. And I got that from sprayequipment.co.uk, and I'll put links to them in the description. But they do several sizes. I think they definitely do a 10, a 20, a 10 litre, 20 litre. They do a 40 litre and a 60 litre. The one I've got is the 20 litre, but yeah, very impressed. And that will certainly be getting a lot of use over the coming years. Anyway, I'll be back soon with more videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. Next, well, the first video I did was all about vacuum. This video was all about pressure. The next video is a little bit of both vacuum and pressure, and that's wood stabilisation, and that should be out very soon. Thanks everyone for watching. And thank you very much to all my subscribers, and thanks for sticking with me. There'll be more videos coming soon. Please comment if you like, and I try and reply to everyone, and it'd be really helpful if you could share the video and like it and subscribe if you haven't. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't tried mould making and casting, give it a go. It's great fun. And don't forget, Makers Central is coming up fast, 5th and 6th of May at the NEC in Birmingham. It's going to be a great event with lots of people there. So look on the website and get your tickets. Lots of links in the description, so take a look.
See you at Makers Central.